Nut Nerd Podcast, episode 291, Simmer Down.
Welcome to the Nut Nerd Podcast. I am Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Greetings and salutations to you, my friend. It is later in the day, and our voices sound more high-pitched like they normally do.
I know, was
mine at least.
Listening to the last one, yeah, mine's still a little allergies, this, that, and the other thing, but listen to that last episode. Whoo, that was the sultry, dultry. What's that word?
Yeah, I always say dulcet tones, but
dulcet
I don't know.
Tones.
Don't know if I'm saying it or spelling it right. So
yes, I was venturing into my NPR voice there.
Yeah. Well, we could talk in a lower register all day long if you want us to.
Yes. Let us know in the comments somewhere.
We can. It's no trouble.
Let us know anything in the comments. What do you want from us? Well, let's get into some follow-up. Dave, you love talking about all the different streaming services. I think you've picked most of them in your previous picks of the week, but there's another one that you're going to be very quick to make a pick of the week, I'm sure. Facebook is rolling out a free cloud gaming service in the US, and it's currently for Android and desktop. I'm sure they're working, as they all are, on figuring it out for iOS, but and they've got some Ubisoft games in their titles there, but have you heard anything about this? Have you tried it? Probably not.
No, I'm not a big fan of Facebook. And I seem to remember that they were doing this gaming thing, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, what advantage is this over any other streaming service other than it's free?
Yeah.
But if it's free, remember, you're the product. Like, what are they getting out of it? My guess is they'll get people hooked on it, and then they'll start charging money for it, and yada, 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 and bait and switch, whatever.
Yes.
Or maybe it's just another way to get their apps onto your devices so that they can track the heck out of you.
Yes.
So who knows? But Ubisoft, people love them, people hate them. Assassin's Creed is their probably most recognizable IP that people enjoy. I love Assassin's Creed and its many iterations across dozens of platforms. Mm-hmm. So, and fun fact, I bought for my Nintendo Switch 2 of their collections, and I've yet to turn them on. Remember, I'm a game collector, not necessarily a player. But anyway, Ubisoft, good. Facebook, bad. We'll see how it goes. I may try this. What I try to do is get a completely isolated machine on a completely isolated network with my Faraday cage and my lead vest on when I try these things.
iMac to Starbucks and get on the free Wi-Fi. And
I do all that through Facebook so they can't implant their whatever into my brain.
Yes.
So anyway, it's just another thing that Amazon has the Luna, Xbox has the cloud gaming. Who am I forgetting? There are more. Steam has their stuff. I don't know if they do that.
Plex.
Cloud. Yeah, Plex is getting the gaming. Like everybody.
NVIDIA. Yeah. The list.
NVIDIA, GeForce. Right. Anybody who has any type of either game company or streaming service is doing cloud gaming these days. So
yes. And I mean, it really is a natural fit for Facebook, because if you remember, I mean, back in the day on Facebook, the Candy Crush and the Farmville, everybody was doing that stuff through Facebook. And I think they still have a lot of those web type games. Now they're just stepping it up a little more to the platform gaming type stuff with the availability of the streaming. As the internet speeds and all that improves, they can do more and more of this stuff and build more server farms and all that great stuff.
Who knows? If only we would use this server capacity and time on things that will help humanity instead of just making us into robots who play games. But
yes.
I digress.
Well, you and I were having a text conversation last night, and as I was going through the week's news, I had seen this, but realized that the iOS and all the new Apple betas, the public betas, not the developer betas, had been rolled out. And so we kind of went back and forth, and I believe we are now both running our main phone devices on the iOS 15 public beta, which is risky, but we are risk takers when it comes to our iPhones and not much else.
Not much else. And just a point of order for me, I'm actually using the developer beta, and I have that through work. And I had it on a couple of my devices before the public beta came out, but just last night I put my phone on the developer beta. And really the only difference is it's a one iteration ahead of the public beta. They do the developer beta. Once they're confident it's working, they release it to the public, and then they release a new developer beta. So it's just once. So basically, I have a higher risk of having something funky happen and break or whatever. But so far, so good. Last night took, as you said, a very long time to put the beta on my main phone, and my primary reason is I wanted to upgrade the watch to watchOS 8, I think it is. But anyway, have you found any new things, new surprises? Have you enjoyed your
after the long wait for it to update, I then texted you and said, wait, what am I supposed to be excited about? And then I was playing around with it. The weather app looks amazing. They have done a ton of upgrades to that. The live text I was playing around with, I think that's going to be a real game changer, where you can point your camera and just copy and paste text from whatever you're pointing, or any of your photos, you can copy and paste text, and that seems to be working really well. Safari, this has been my dream. I've talked about it many times. Everything on the iPhone should be bottom notification. I should rarely ever have to reach to the top of my screen, especially with a max size phone that is extremely large. And the new Safari, I've only used it a little bit, but the address bar is at the bottom. All of the controls are there. So far, I like what I see. For the average person, if you count on your iPhone, you probably don't need to get it yet, unless there's something that you really think a new weather app or new maps app probably isn't worth the risk of something not working correctly. I like that they do the public betas and gives me a chance to have something new and shiny to play with, and so far seems to be working pretty good for me. I haven't had any issues, and like I joked with you on text message, what's the worst thing that could happen? I couldn't get phone calls. That's actually a benefit.
That's a total benefit for me. Yeah, I like it so far. I had a chance to use Safari this morning. I haven't used much else. I have it on an older device, but I never really use that device for anything. And so unless you have it on your main primary device, it's just more of a novelty. It's not until you put it on something that makes a difference that you're really going to start to see the ins and out of the new software.
Yes, but those are available, so you can do iPad, watchOS, iOS. You can, if you really want to live dangerously, you can install what's the new
Monterey
on your Mac, which unless you really know what you're doing, I wouldn't risk that one. That one usually tends to be a little more problematic, just because it's not a controlled environment like the mobile devices are. But if you would like to check those out, we'll have a link in the show notes, or just go to Google and search Apple public betas, and they've got a website that'll walk you through how you get that set up and installed.
Yeah.
And you know what else you might want to install in your life? Dave's pro tip of the week.
Well, I've covered this tip in various iterations in the past, and I've talked about different applications that can do various things, but as a kind of addition to my travel type tips from last week of ABCs of travel, always be charging. That's still so relevant, no matter whether you're traveling or not. This one was, we got together as a family at a remote destination in Colorado, and my mom had a bunch of family pictures that she was showing to everybody, and many of which I had never seen, and many of which I don't have copies of. Eventually I'm going to get those photos, and if I ever scan them in, I've got a whole box to scan them in. This is the rainy day project that even though Oregon is full of rain, I never seem to get this project done.
It never seems to be a true rainy day.
Yeah. So there's always something more exciting to do than scan hundreds of photos. But there is a way to do it kind of in a non-precise way that is just good enough. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So if you have an iPhone, Android phone, whatever, the cameras on these phones are so good. You've seen some of the pictures I posted this weekend with a couple interesting angles and a little bit of editing. You can make your photos look very professional.
Yes.
So it's like, wow, where did that come from? Oh, I did it with my phone. And people are like, what? Well, the same can be true for scanning photos. And there are a couple tips I'm going to give you to make your experience just a little bit better. So what you're going to want to do is get your stack of photos. And one of the glaring problems, pun intended, is that if you just set it flat down on the table and try to take a picture of it, the lights above will reflect off the generally shiny surface of the photo and cause a hot spot in the photo. Now, Google's photo whatever app, I can't remember, remedies this by having you take several pictures and it meshes them all together. PhotoScan, I think is the name of it. My problem with PhotoScan is they have not updated that in years, and the resolution is very low. It takes very low resolution photos.
Interesting.
So I don't use it much anymore.
Wait, you're saying that Google has ignored one of their properties?
Yeah, they're probably going to kill it. Probably going to kill it just because I talked about it today. But you don't need it. So here's what you do. You prop up your photo on, I don't know, a pop can, stack of books or whatever, kind of make it a 45-degree angle. So now you're looking at the photo, not perpendicular to the light source above. And it also allows you to remove any shadow that you might be producing by leaning over the photo. So you just prop it up about 45 degrees. You hold your phone's camera as perpendicular to the photo as you can. Now, if you notice any type of glaring or shadows or whatever, you can slightly move off to the side, up or down or whatever, because I'm going to show you how to fix that distortion here in a moment. So you take the photo, let's say it's a little bit oblique and you're off to the left a little bit. Now it's in your camera roll. What do? Well, you go to the edit, and then for iPhones at least, there are a couple controls you need to become familiar with. One of them is on the bottom of your screen, and it kind of looks like an L and a 7 put together, like your square. And it has the little rotating arrows there. I love this tool.
Yes.
It is a multi-function tool. So if you click that, you see 3 icons appear. One is a circle with the line in the middle. That's to straighten the photo. There's one with a trapezoid with a vertical line. That is to change the perspective up and down. And there's another one with a trapezoid with a horizontal line, and that's to do the perspective to the left and right. So if you did take the photo just a little bit off center, you can use these tools to straighten it back up. And when you evoke one of these tools and you start sliding around the little scaler at the bottom to make the adjustments, a grid will appear and it'll help you line up to make sure your photo is square. Now, that's not all. If you are like me and grew up in the 70s and 80s, you might have a lot of square photos laying around. So you want to go to the top of the screen, and there's this very strange icon. It looks like a box with other boxes inside of the boxes. And you're like, what is this thing? But if you click it, you will see that you can change the aspect ratio of the crop. And you just simply hit the square and then go back to your other tools by unclicking the icon, and you're ready to go. And I tell you what, I went through probably 10 photos last night, and rather quickly, and I straightened them out, because when I was at my mom's house, I took a picture of like 60 photos this way.
Yeah.
I rotated them. I kind of did the parallel correction. I cropped them. I did some slight adjustments. Now, you've talked before about the auto correction.
Auto enhance.
Auto enhance. It does a really good job most of the time. I have found that for older photos that have faded over the time, or that were taken with cameras that have like a distinct reddish hue or bluish hue or orangish hue, it doesn't work real great. So I tend to do mine manually. But cropping them and straightening them couldn't be simpler. And if you've taken the photo at an angle, it's going to get rid of most of the reflections and the shadows. And so you will have an approximate, very good to a scan of your photo that you can just be confident. At least now I have a photo of this. If my house burns down, I'm using either backing up to Google on my Android phone, or I'm backing up to iCloud on my iPhone. If my house burns down, if my phone gets lost or whatever, these photos are safe. Again, one of the largest benefits of doing it this way is you don't have to deal with a computer and a scanner, which can be unwieldy.
Yes.
It takes much longer, even though it can produce better results, it takes much longer. So the chances of you actually using a scanner to do this are quite low.
Yeah.
I mean, with camera phones being kind of locked in right now about 12 megapixels, that is a very high resolution. And if you do it steady, and if you've got hundreds of these to do, just get a small tripod with a ball head joint on the top, get your phone locked in so it's in a standard position, get the area in front of you kind of set out so that you can get a nice parallel shot of the photo, and just put the photo there, click, move it. Put a new photo there, click, boom. You can do hundreds in an hour, and then all that's left to do is to do the editing. And believe you me, even if you had a scanner, you're going to be editing these things anyway, and cropping them and straightening. And it's so much easier to do on your phone because the tools are so much better. So anyway, that's my tip. A box of old photos. Use your phone. Use the built-in tools. They're every bit as good as any tools that you can buy to scan in your family. Heirloom photos.
Yes. No, that's a very good tip. And like you said, have mentioned it many times before, the editing tools in the Photos app on iOS are amazing what you can do. I was even just on the, the little dial one where you do the audio enhance. I mean, there is 15, 20 different things that you can adjust in there to adjust different levels and everything when you really need to dial it in. Most of the time, auto enhance is going to work to kind of balance the colors, but even if not, you can adjust brightness, you can do all of that stuff. And so, to archive those old photos, that is a great way to do it, which I do have a box in the drawer next to my desk of photos that maybe thanks to your tip, I'll get motivated to do those, even though there's no rain in the forecast.
Yeah, well, just a simple setup. My guess is you can go through that whole box just in an hour or two, and then you can spend your life editing them. But at least they'll be safe.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. Well, let's move on to our takes for the week. We are kind of in a slower news period during the summertime. There's not as much happening, but I went through a couple hundred stories in my Feedly feed of all my tech sources and did find some stuff to talk about. The first one is an interesting one I found from TechCrunch. Google debuts a new website and set of resources for Americans experiencing food insecurity. So,
okay, now explain food insecurity to me. What is this?
I think the generic definition is not knowing where your next meal may come from, or not knowing that you're going to get every meal, which I am very fortunate that I probably eat too many meals. There, are a lot of people out there, especially over the last year. And so this puts together resources, including hotlines, SNAP information, which is a government program for food assistance, and Google Maps locator tool to local food banks, food pantries, school meal program pickup locations, among other things. And they say, in an announcement, Google explains how the COVID-19 pandemic fueled a worsening food crisis in the U.S., which led to some 45 million people, or 1 in 7 Americans, experiencing food insecurity at some point during 2020. The figure was up 30% over 2019, the company noted, and 15 million of those were children. So there's, you can go to g.co/find food support. Why couldn't they just go with, they've got the super short g.co and then they go find food support. Why not just go g.co/food? But
I don't know.
And what do I know? But it worked with many different organizations, so it's good to have one resource. If this is something you need, and especially in areas where there might not be as many resources. So I just wanted to point that out, and hopefully none of our listeners are like that. But it is something cool that Google is doing for people.
Yeah, and I just typed in my address real quick, and it's interesting. It gives businesses that sell food, but they aren't necessarily like a food place that you can get a handout or something like that. So,
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I need to play with this a little bit more, but our church does have a food pantry, and there's some other ones here in our local area that people can take advantage of. And so if you are one of these people, just go in there, get the food. It's free.
Yes.
There's no questions. There's no shame. You need it, you get it, please.
Yes, indeed. Good note on that. Well, you and I are both T-Mobile customers, so this does not impact us, but T-Mobile's always trying new things, and they are currently, if you have an iPhone, now the last 2 or 3 years, they've had the eSIM capability built in, so you can have your SIM card, and you can also have an electronic SIM card.
And if I recall correctly, Nate, you have a business line on your eSIM and a regular line in your SIM tray. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. So I am a dual SIMmer on my simmer down now on my phone. But you can download an app, and they will give you a 30-day trial of the T-Mobile network on your eSIM.
Wow.
So like I said, I think it's the last couple years of iPhone. So if you're, say, on Verizon, you're like, man, Nate and Dave keep talking about T-Mobile and how cheap it is. I'm thinking about switching over, but I don't know how the service will be, or AT&T or anything. You can do this and do a 30-day test drive program where it'll install the eSIM, and then you could use that, which is pretty crazy that you'd be able to use that for a month for free. That's a pretty aggressive move on their part.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a better way to do it, because there are people who are like, well, what is the service like? And it's like, I live in a different house than you, and I live in a different town, so I can't really tell you what it's going to be like for you. Now, tell me, being a dual simmer down, how, let's say you go to Colorado like I did, and your T-Mobile service is spotty, and you have an eSIM for Verizon, for example, how do you tell the phone which service to use, or does it just use the best one at the time for data?
Yeah, so it's actually come up a couple times when you're walking us through a tip of the week on something in the cellular settings. So when you have 2 SIMs installed, it kind of changes in the cellular settings. So when I go into cellular in settings, it has cellular plans, and it has my business line and my primary line.
Oh yeah, I just see my one plan in here.
Yes. So then where you would click on your one plan, I can click on either one. So I use my primary personal one as the primary one. Go figure.
Yeah.
So like if I click on my business one, which is through Google Fi, you can go in and you can turn on things to make that the primary, and then you could turn off one. Say if you were going to do this T-Mobile trial, you would get it all set up, and then you could turn off your primary line. And I'm guessing, I didn't see if they give you, like a temporary number or what it is, because, obviously you wouldn't want to just switch over your main number. I think it's mostly for the data stuff. You want to be able to see how that works. So
yeah, because I mean, if the data works, your phone is going to work. So
yes, and at the top of those settings, there is a cellular data option, and you pick which one you want to use for your primary. If that one's not working, it'll actually offer to switch you over to your secondary one. So,
and not to toot Apple's horn, but none of this would be possible if the iPhone didn't exist. Carriers do not like selling you phones that can be used on other carriers' networks.
Yes.
But the iPhone has made it to where you can have 2 carriers on one phone. It's amazing.
Yeah. So if you're interested in giving T-Mobile a spin, but that seems really complicated to you, no longer. As long as you have a compatible phone, which it looks like the 10S and newer. So that's, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Hopefully most of you are on those devices by now. This last take, I'm confused how this works, and I don't care enough to look into it too much, but Apple announced that Apple TV Plus lands combined 25 Daytime Emmy Award nominations. Now, the distinction between a Daytime Emmy and a regular Emmy, I don't know how they figure that out, because it's streaming anyways. So
what if I stream it at midnight? Is that not helping it be in the daytime, or what?
The graveyard Emmys, which the Emmys are kind of going to a graveyard these days. But yeah, it's really interesting. So it looks like it might be more for because they said children's and animation and lifestyle categories in addition to previously announced in the craft categories. So I think the daytime might be based on the categories, which again, it just seems silly that in 2021 it wouldn't just all be the same thing, but it's definitely gotten muddied over the years, and
it's very strange. I don't follow any of that award stuff anymore. I used to watch some of those shows, but now I'm just so confused. It's like, well, what I mean, the movie houses weren't open and everything is streaming, and it's just, I'm like, does it really matter? I just want to be able to watch my content. I don't really care. It's the industry patting its own self on its own back type of thing. So whatever.
Yes. Well, our bonus odd take of the week this week, Dave, this is one I just came across. And have you heard of the iOS app called Brickit?
No, it sounds wonderful though. Is it catalog my basketball career? Is that what it is?
Yes. How did you know? Yes, it'll go back through your life and catalog every missed shot on the basketball court.
Well, it's going to be a lot. I hope there's a lot of RAM in that app.
Yes. So this is via Kotkey, which I find a lot of interesting content. A new iOS app called Brickit has been developed to breathe new life into your old Lego pile. Just dump your bricks out into a pile, and the app will analyze what Lego bricks you have, what new creations you can build with them, and provide you with detailed build instructions. So this is, we actually just started watching the new season of Lego Masters.
Oh, is it out?
Yes. Yeah. I think they've had a couple episodes, and we got together with my parents and watched the first episode. But, Legos are kind of a thing. Don't know if you knew that, Dave.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
I figured I know that you might have a pile of Legos here or there.
I've got 2 gigantic tubs. Who are we fooling?
Yes. So just a very interesting concept, and I haven't tried it, but they say they have an Android version coming this fall, but on their website they've got, it's brickit.app, some little silly creations that apparently it's come up with. So it's kind of like an AI type of a thing that you just take a picture of all your bricks and it'll give you a project to do. So
I can't believe this. I clicked on the look at the demo thing, and you point your phone at it and it does all this like CSI. It's going through and analyzing all these pieces and picking them out. It's so crazy. Yeah, this is neat. I'm definitely going to check this out.
Yeah, so that is one we give you a lot of silly viral videos to look at, but this is grab the kids, grab a pile of Legos, and download the app and see what happens.
And if you don't have kids, do it anyway, because Legos have no age limit. Well, actually, I think they say to 99 on the box.
Yes,
sucks to be those centenarians or whatever they call them.
You know what else has no age limit? Our picks of the week.
So Nate, you had a birthday here recently, and I think probably most people who are living have a birthday at least once a year.
Most do.
Yeah. So if you have someone in your life you'd like to give a birthday present to, I would recommend this product, because I bought 2 of these, and I, kind of selfishly bought it for myself, and then gave you one because I wanted to try them out. Yeah. And this is the TechMat Mag Grip Sticky Magnetic Wall Mount Phone Stand Holder, compatible with iPhone, iPhone 12 Pro, Pro Max, and MagSafe case, strong magnet phone accessories. Yes. Now, from that description, you probably know exactly what this is, but for those of you who are a little bit slower, I'm going to explain in more detail what it is. So this is about, I don't know, a 2.5-inch disc made of metal with a sticky pad. That's it. And what you do is you take the sticky pad, which is one of those washable discs that stick to kind of anything, and you stick it to the wall. You stick the metal puck to it, and then guess what? You have a MagSafe compatible sticky puck that you can put your phone on. Let's say you're in the kitchen and you want to put it up for a recipe or music. You stick it on the wall. Let's say you're in the shower and you like to listen to podcasts or music in your shower, but you don't have a shelf in there. You got some complicated system. Just stick it right on the wall wherever you like, and it works. And that's currently where I have mine. Nate, give us your review of this product after having used it for a few weeks.
Yes. Well, I got it. You dropped it off for me, and I opened it up, and I was in the kitchen cooking dinner, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this out. And I stuck it to the glass on the microwave, and it worked great. Just put my phone, because I've got my MagSafe compatible case on there, and you know what? It just held, and then I was like, okay, time to take it up to the shower, because that's where I really wanted to use it, and it is very sticky.
It is.
It is got a good grip. They have up their reusable sticky stuff, but it did pull off of there, and then I've put it up in my shower, and I did a very archaic pick of the week. I had a little metal adhesive clip that it was kind of a balancing act every time I put my phone on there. It was a little tiny, shelf thing, and so it just works. And I was thinking about it, and I think this would work too, like before MagSafe. Can you remember a time before MagSafe?
Oh, no, I can barely remember.
Oh, how did we live? But my car mount previously, I had a little metal piece in my iPhone case that would attach to the magnet. So I'm guessing if you don't have a MagSafe device, that might work as well, if you have a little piece of metal to put in there. But no, it works really great. It is really sturdy. I mean, my phone, you click it on there, and it is not going anywhere without some serious physics applied to it. So I really like it, and thank you for that.
Yeah, it's really weird how it works, this whole MagSafe thing, because even if you're off just a fraction of a millimeter, it's like no magnetic attraction, it's like this thing's not working. But once you line it up perfectly, it's like donk. And then it's like, this thing is really on there. I don't know how they're doing this. Usually with magnets, there's kind of a range where it's like, well, I'm getting closer, it's getting stronger. But these seem to either be on or off. Anyway, that's just an observation. But it works great for me. I'm glad it works for you. And they're about $13 each. Yeah. You get one, it's worth it. There are many variations of this. I chose this particular one because I've purchased products from this company before, and it had the removable sticky. Some of them you get that's just an adhesive disc that you put it on there, and then it's one and done. I wanted to be able to move it around and experiment with it. So
yeah, no, very nice product. Thank you. I would have made it my pick of the week if you didn't get to it this week. So. Well, my pick of the week this week is a very nerdy one. As you should know, I do, with my business, I help people with their computers along with their marketing and all that stuff. But one of the things I love doing for people is getting them new computers. We spend so much time on our computers, especially at work. And if you just have an old computer, please, you will save yourself so much time by getting a newer computer. And I came across this little program, I think in one of my IT groups or something, and they have a free version, and it's called Transwiz.
This sounds like a gender-specific bathroom, perhaps.
Yes.
Or a non-specific gender bathroom, I should say.
Yes. It is not that. It is made by a company called Friends IT, and they have a couple products, but specifically what Transwiz does, and they have a free for personal use version. Let's say you have a laptop, you buy a new laptop, and you want to get everything over from your old laptop to your new laptop. Now on a Mac, this is pretty easy because Apple controls it all. You can just basically copy and paste over, or even do the auto transfer tool. With Windows, it's a little more difficult. So this, you run it on the old computer. It creates a ginormous zip file of everything in your profile. You copy that to the new computer, and you run the program on that computer, and it puts everything into place. I mean, even the one that I did this week, the old laptop screen was smaller than the new. It was a bigger screen on the new one. So after I got done, the icons were all in their exact place on the desktop, but they were kind of shrunken in a little bit because the old screen was smaller. So it does a lot of magic to kind of get everything, which I know that's a big reason why people don't want to upgrade. They just, I know where all my stuff is. I know how it all works. Now you're still going to maybe have to install a couple programs, like Microsoft Office and some of the applications. But as far as your files and a lot of your settings and everything, it pulls it all over. It's free. They have a version for, larger businesses if you're doing a ton of this type of stuff. But yeah, if you find yourself, put this one away in your memory bank, or just send me a message when you get your new computer and go, what was that thing you talked about? But it really makes it easy to get all of that stuff. Now, I just had a thought, because I love to say one backup is none backup. You could also use this if you just wanted to make a backup of your computer to put somewhere just in case. And you should be using Backblaze and making sure all your important documents are backed up another place too. But if you just wanted to say, hey, you know what? My hard drive goes to poo. I want to have just this where I know I can use Transwiz and get it back up and running. So
this could have been useful for a friend of mine that I helped. He upgraded his computer, and the computer center kind of made a backup of everything, as did he before he took the computer in. And all the files seem to be there except for the Quicken files. The Quicken folder was empty for some reason. So maybe this Transwiz would have taken all of the little hidden places. I don't know what it is with these companies. They seem to want to put files in the deepest, darkest recesses of these computers. Just put it where everybody can see it. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, that was a problem that he had, and it's still an ongoing investigation because the old computer's still around, so we're going to see if... that is the nice thing. When you have the benefit of having the old computer around where you can go back to it, that is not always the case, though. So making sure you have all those important files. Yeah, I was dealing with some QuickBooks stuff this last week with a different client. Computers, they're a pain, but they are a necessity. That's why everybody should just use an iPad, I guess, and be done with it.
And speaking of pains and necessities, I am sad to say that Amazon has not gotten back to me on why they canceled our affiliate account. I was telling Dave last night I had set up a new affiliate account under my Amazon account, and it's like, well, maybe we can make this work. Well, this morning I had an email saying, nope, you already had a terminated account. We've canceled your affiliate account. So very frustrating, just because we do so much through Amazon. And it was as you and I talked about, a non-intrusive way that you could help us out and help, pay for some of our costs.
Yeah, it costs you nothing to purchase items you already want.
That's what I like about it's very, very easy to do. So we're still holding on that one. And I'm hoping there's some way that we can get it figured out where we could get that back up and running, just because it has, I like looking through and seeing what people are buying. I am very intrigued by what people buy. So
you're a sales voyeur,
or
something. Yes. I'm sure there's a term for that.
Yes, but the real reason is I want to see if there's something that somebody bought that I want to buy. So I'm just a shopaholic.
That's
I'm just
what
always
is.
looking for an excuse to buy something new. But yeah, it really is a bummer. Maybe we should just find some company that we like and just use their affiliate code on everything and make them a lot of money. But hopefully stay tuned and hold off. Just add stuff to your cart on Amazon and wait until we get it figured out, because that's more important than you actually getting your stuff.
No, you jest, of course.
Yes.
We'll figure something out. We're fine. Each of us have jobs. We don't rely on this Amazon affiliate and the tens of dollars a month it gives us for survival. So I think we'll be okay.
Yes. It's just one of those things where it's like, we've put a lot of work into this. There is a lot of our links out there, and then they just kind of all go dead because Amazon doesn't like us for whatever reason. And but anyways, I'm not losing sleep over it, but hopefully some miracle will happen, and next week I'll report back that shop away.
It's all back to normal.
Yes. But anyways, with that, I think we have talked at you quite long enough this week. And thank you so much for listening. Thanks for sharing it with friends. Thanks for asking questions. Thanks for posting in the group. Thanks for using our Amazon links when they worked. I think, honestly, looking at kind of the vague language that they provided, some of it was they were like, hey, it's the same people buying stuff all the time from this account. Why is that? So thank you for your support. Even though it might have gotten that taken away, we're not worried about it, but we love just talking technology and helping people get out there and tech better. One backup is none backup. As they say, as a wise man once uttered.
Speaking of udders, how's your cow?
Ooh.